Well, I finally achieved the first major milestone of every single YouTuber. I reached 100 subscribers. Yay. Cue the intro, people. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Panzerverse. This is your host, Panzer speaking. And on today's video, because it's my 100 subscriber special, we are going to be talking about my journey to getting into indie animation. My journey starts pretty uniquely with me getting into animation via Disney. One of the first major shows that I especially got addicted to on Disney was Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I was also addicted to the Owl House, Amphibia, a bunch of these indie shows that came during the Disney Renaissance for TV. And these shows kind of share a unique ability where they felt more indie. They felt more like they had a character to them, and they didn't feel like classic Disney shows that we're all used to. So that's my first journey, and you'll understand why I mentioned Owl House. It'll make sense when we continue on with the story. But I go through the rest of my middle school years, go into high school, and in my third year of high school, everything changes. I did mention this during my Has-Been Hotel video, but one of the things that happened to me was after I got rejected by a girl, one of my coping mechanisms was binge watching shows because it kept all the feelings away. So during January, a show comes up. It's called Has-Been Hotel. I already made a Has-Been Hotel addiction video, so you all know how that story goes. But I get addicted to the show. I get so addicted to the point where I get other friends addicted. I'm a bad influence, and I know that. And they know that also. But that was my first step to indie animation, was truly going through heartbreak to binge watching shows to getting into indie animation. That was the first real indie show that I got into. And during this time, I had also watched Helluva Boss. Helluva Boss and Has-Been Hotel were my first two indie shows. Are they my most favorite indie shows? No. Case in point, I got copyright on my previous video, so I cannot even show you all footage. I might have a small vendetta against VisiPop now because of the copyright issue. But let's continue on with the story. Those were my first two indie shows, and I think what appealed to me was it kind of reminded me of the Owl House. This outside perspective, it wasn't a traditional show. It felt very unique. It felt better in its own way. I know the flaws that Has-Been Hotel has and Helluva Boss have. They have too much swearing, too much sexual jokes, too much, adult humor. But that kind of gave it character for their shows. And it made them more unique compared to other shows like Rick and Morty and everything. But also during this time, I get into another show. And it's my first glitch show. Now, if you happen to see, all my videos, you're probably all expecting it's Murder Drones. Spoilers, it's not Murder Drones. It's a different show. I watched The Amazing Digital Circus as my first glitch show. And that, I think, changed the world for me. Now, one thing I do with the preference is I watched Digital Circus, I think, up to episode 3 or 4, and then I forgot about Digital Circus afterwards. But that was another indie show that I got into, and it introduced me to Glitch Productions. I think I'd seen at that point maybe a bit of episode 1 of Murder Drones, but I didn't feel like it was my cup of tea and everything. And I remember I got busy during this time, so I couldn't catch up with all these indie shows that I had now gone into. But we fast forward our story. I'm watching Helluva Boss over the summer. I think Helluva Season 2 comes out during this time, because I know Has-Been Season 1 just ended. During the summer, we get Helluva Season 2. And then 2025 hits in. And in 2025, I go through the rest of high school. I move away from the Has-Been Hotel phase, the Helluva Boss phase, move into the phase of I'm still into animated shows, but less so. I'm more into the Adult Swim shows now. It's just a changing times for me. And then we hit late October of 2025. For me, that is when indie animation comes back to me. And I get addicted to murder drones. Like I explained in my murder drones addiction video, go check it out if you haven't. I watched a pilot, I think at like 11 p.m. at night. I binge watched the entire series, I think, until 2 a.m. in the morning. And I had college the next day. During my college lectures, I watched Murder Drones again. I had fallen down the path of addiction for the show. And Murder Drones kind of changed everything for me. It was the one true indie show that I fell in love with. I loved it, I enjoyed it. And I made multiple Murder Drone videos now, so y'all know my thoughts on it, y'all know my thoughts on chips and everything. But it reinvigorated indie animation for me. Something that was like a slow fire that was happening, where the candle was like lit, or the barrel of TNT was lit by Has-Been Hotel, Murder Drones made it explode. And this is where I go back, I rewatch Digital Circus, I watched the newer episodes of Digital Circus, and I fall back in love with a show that I had previously loved for Glitched. I tried Meta Runners, unfortunately that isn't for me. I gave it an episode, I'll probably give it a second try. And Murder Drones is what got me back into YouTube. I would not be making YouTube if it wasn't for me discovering Murder Drones and getting back into indie animation. And I also forgot to mention, I discovered Murder Drones via Instagram Reels because I got a newsy edit. Because Has-Been Season 2 had just finished up. I also forgot to mention, oh yeah, Has-Been Season 2 came out. Yeah, that's a whole story for another time. That's also part of the reason why I got into Murder Drones. Because it just finished up and I need something to binge. I have an issue with binge watching, as you can clearly tell. But moving on, I buy merch for Murder Drones because I really love indie animation at that point. And that is what gets me back into doing YouTube. And I genuinely enjoy it. I think Murder Drones is the main reason why I'm back in YouTube now. I had not posted in 3 years. If it wasn't for Murder Drones, I would not be doing YouTube. But cutting out with the rest of my indie animated experience, I watched Knights of Guinevere. I love it. I had to watch it 2 times because the first time I didn't like it. The second time I was like, okay, I have to give it a second chance. Well worth the second chance. Gaslight I enjoy. I've watched Toon Turf recently, catching up, Heathens, and Laxadaisies. I'm going to make videos on all of them eventually soon. Don't worry, it's not just a Murder Drones channel. We talk about indie animation in general. I'll be making videos on all of them. But that's my journey with indie animation. It starts with a sparkle, which was Has-Been Hotel, technically the Disney era before that. And then we emerge into this era where I genuinely enjoy indie animation. And it got me back into YouTube. But yeah, I want to thank you all for reaching 100 subscribers. As I'm recording this, I think I'm at 181 subscribers at the double check right now. Yes, I am at 181 subscribers. So, you know, please subscribe. You all know I'm going to play the outro with N. He's going to beg you. But yeah, I genuinely want to thank you all because you all subscribing helps show to my to my Indian parents excuse the coughing, that I can do YouTube as an actual thing. My goal is reach 1,000 subscribers. I know I'm not going to get AdSense by then. It's just mathematically impossible with the watch hours and everything. But it is a piece of evidence I can use to show to my parents, hey, maybe I can take YouTube a bit more seriously. I can do this as a side gig while doing college. I do also want to mention, unfortunately, I'm a college student. I'm going to be going back to college in, I think, 2.5 weeks as of making this video. My upload schedule might be a bit wonkier. My goal is I'm still trying to give you guys 2 to 3 videos a week. That is my goal. Shorts should remain daily, but instead of getting 2 shorts, which I don't know how I've been able to give you guys 2 shorts a day, that was originally planned to be 1 short a day. It'll be reduced down to 1 short a day if it has to. I'm going to try to keep my upload schedule as consistent as I can, but if I have to reduce it, I'll put a community post about it. I do also want to mention, please follow me on TikTok. Please follow me. Especially follow me on Insta. I could not really care about TikTok. That's the one I ignore the most. But please follow me on Instagram. I post some behind-the-scenes stuff on Instagram. Like, I'm going to post a behind-the-scenes how I got N video eventually. That's a behind the scenes reel that you might all get. YouTube's gonna get that later. But like I said, go follow me on my other socials. You know about N. So, N, go give your thing, your outro, and I'll see you all hopefully on the next video. And as of now, please go vote on the poll for the next video idea because it's currently tied, and I want that not to be tied. But N, go take over now. Well, you all heard from the man himself. He wants a damn girlfriend, so you better subscribe to help get him a girlfriend. Well, I hope to see you all later, and hope to see you all back on Pandaverse soon.